Today's service call is a complaint of a walk-in freezer with frost. It doesn't look too bad to me, but there's definitely something going on. They're saying it was like all over the ceiling. I mean, I see some droplets, definitely. And then I already saw that the door is not shutting properly, and you can tell that there's a door issue because look at where the ice and frost is all around the door. That's because the door is not shutting all the way. So you can see that, you know, around the door the shelves have frost buildup, but if you go over here it's not so bad. They were thinking that the box is getting too cold. We're going to go through that and evaluate everything right now, but we definitely know we need some door closing hardware to be fixed. But we're going to evaluate the entire system. Look at all that ice we have in there. I just kind of broke it up a little bit, but this is why we evaluate everything. Even though I'm here just for, you know, more than likely just the door not shutting, we're looking at everything, and we found a bigger problem that would have been blamed on me or my company had we not fully diagnosed this system. So it's imperative that you always look at everything. So we're going to figure out why our drain pan looks to be full of ice. We're going to start pulling some fan guards and evaluating how bad it is, and then maybe we'll throw the unit into a defrost and check the heaters. So this is interesting. The ice is only on one side of the coil. And you notice it's not here. It's not here. So I've got to evaluate this and figure out exactly what's going on. I took this screw out. It doesn't seem like it's on level. If the coil was, you know, leaning to one side, maybe that could cause accumulation on this side, but I don't think that's the case. It's always possible too that someone never fully defrosted the coil, but we're the only company that works on this and we haven't had an ice up problem recently. So it's interesting. So we're gonna keep on going. I'm gonna see if we can't get this defrosted and go from there. So I removed what ice I could by hand just to eliminate this. Some of this stuff just broke right off with my hand, but you never ever want to hit or chip at anything because there's too much stuff. So that's all I can do. So now I'm going to use the hot water and slowly defrost it nice and slow without getting any water dripping out of the coil. Just nice and slow. If I was defrosting the coil, I'd take out the motors, but it's just a little bit in the drain tank, so just using some hot water, nice and slow, letting it drain, and we'll get all the way over into here. Then we'll put it back together and finish diagnosing. So this coil's unlevel. So I've got water in this side, and I'm going to slowly move over, and the water gets lower and lower and lower. Over on that side, I barely have any water in the side of the drain pan right there. So I might need to do some work to get this thing leveled out. It's draining though, so that's a plus. But yeah, we're definitely on level. So probably what we need to do, this may have been an existing issue from day one, is we're going to need to drop that side of the coil down a little bit and level it out. I could probably do that today. We'll see. Maybe put some washers under the top or something. We'll get a level in here and check it better that way. I was actually able to correct it just by adjusting the drain pan. What I think is that they've been stacking boxes and pushing up on that because I just bowed that down a little bit and then loosened all the screws and pushed up each corner as far as it would go. It only went a little bit, but now I've got some pretty even water flow. It's kind of hard to see because of all the steam, but and it's draining. But this side right here wasn't having any water in the beginning, but it's draining all out now. Keep watching it, see what happens. Okay, so our system's running a clear sight glass. No problem there. Condenser fan motors are running. The box is still coming down in temperature. I don't see a problem with the refrigeration system right now. Everything's looking okay. We are going to check the defrost right now that the box is nice and cold. I will tell you that when I turned the breaker back on, I hadn't come up here yet, and the evaporator fan motors instantly turned on. which they probably shouldn't have, because I got that evaporator coil nice and warm, because I ended up just spraying the whole coil just to get any frost that was on it off. So the limit switch should not have turned those fans on that quick. It should have been a delay on the fans, and I'll explain that in the recap. But I definitely think we're going to have to do some a limit switch replacement on this on top of a door closure. But let's go ahead and check the defrost now and check the rest of the system. Okay, so we're going to get in here and test our heaters. We've got 4 heater wires going to the H1 terminal. Just going to test each one. We need to make sure we have amperage on each one. So that one has 1.65, 1.63, 3.3, and this is my last one. 3.3. Okay, so we've got the bottom of the coil heater, the drain pan heater, and then we have 2 in the coil. So yeah, we're looking good. I don't see a problem there. Everything else is looking good. My limit switches, like I had mentioned, I don't like how the fan started right up when I turned it on. So we're gonna quote to replace the limit switches also. But other than that, everything else is working good. In order to come up with a custom gasket, you're going to measure the total width. So you see this is the bottom side of the gasket, the side, and this is the side over here. So you measure the total width. It's like 1 inch. So it's right about 1 inch. And then you also want to measure the total depth. Looks like about 5/8. And then the overall dimensions. And you want to pay attention to how it mounts. That's a dart style, so it pushes into that plastic track called a dart gasket. Door sweep's missing, kind of worn out too, so we're going to replace the door sweep also. So I'm looking at their digital display that was disconnected also, because I'm looking at the big picture. You see all that moisture in there? That's why this display is going bad. The box is not sealed properly, and a lot of times, even if you seal it with silicone and stuff, it'll still get intrusion from moisture just because of how bad the insulation is in the walls. Even on this top one, you see how we've got a lot of rust and stuff. So if they approve me to replace this control, which has been disconnected, we'll mount it exterior to the unit, put it in a different spot so that way we don't run into this problems. But this is also their light switch too. So here's my solution. We're going to go ahead and install. It's made by Dixel. It's a door alarm kit. It's got temperature. It's all enclosed. We're going to put it exposed to eliminate the problem with the moisture intruding on the control that's existing. Temperature sensor. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the magnetic door switch. I like the idea of a magnetic door switch, but I just worry about the nuisance calls if something happens and then they make me, this location's an hour and a half from my shop. So we'll see. I haven't decided on this yet, but I'm replacing the door gasket, and what I like to do is soak these in hot water to make them pliable and try to get them to set in there, because I tried putting it in without soaking it, and the dart, the little plastic dart right there, was having a hard time. So we're going to try that, and if that doesn't work, I have some other methods. So yeah, this one's being difficult. I get the corners in fine, but in the middle it won't go. And actually what it is if you look at the gap, it gets bigger on the bottom and gets smaller over here. So I have another trick. So if you look at the bottom one of these gaskets, there's a double-sided dart. And oftentimes on these really old doors, I find it easier to cut off the inside of that dart. Okay. resistance right there. Alright, cool. And this is what we want. The fan should not turn on. See, the limit switches are working now. That's why we replaced them, because the fans were turning on too fast last time. They were turning on right away, and that's not what we want. So this is good. So the coil's got to get to in the 20s before the fans will turn on now. So we ran the sensor wire up and around so it's not getting the discharge air from the coil. We silicone the hole. Evaporator's running. We got a thermostat up there now, so it's not a mechanical thermostat anymore. And we changed the limit switches. Put a new door gasket, door closure. The alarm module's right here. It's got a magnetic door switch. It's got a light switch in it, and we put a new door sweep on the bottom of the door. We also had a problem with the door shutting, and it was because this hinge wasn't shimmed out. The top hinge was, but the bottom wasn't, so we shimmed it out. And everything's working good now. It has an audible alarm, so it'll scream at you. Might be annoying, but I set the parameters. So basically that audible alarm is going to go off if the door is left open for more than 20 minutes. And everything else is looking good. We sealed, on the inside right here, we sealed this up with silicone so that way the air is not going to come in from in here. Yeah.
Okay, so this was a service call on a walk-in freezer that wasn't working properly. The complaint was that the customer thought it was getting way too cold because there was frost all on the inside of the box. Like I said in the beginning of the video, when I got there, I mean, there was a little bit, but it wasn't nothing crazy. But again, went through everything, okay? And I found multiple problems, okay? To address the frost on the inside of the box, actually I found a whole bunch of problems. But the main problem was that the door was not shutting properly. The door closure was bad, okay? The door gasket wasn't sealing properly, and the door sweep on the bottom of the door was, partially missing. Then on top of that, I found that the evaporator coil, which has a fan delay switch or limit switch inside of it, the limit switch wasn't working properly. So when you would initiate a defrost, when it would come out of defrost, those evaporator fans would start immediately, and that's not correct. Those evaporator fan motors should have a delay that usually doesn't turn them on until the evaporator coil gets to about 20 degrees or so, okay? So we went ahead and also found that the thermostat for the box wasn't working properly, and that when I would set it for a certain temperature, then it would overshoot, and it was just very erratic. No matter where I set it, it was just kind of had a mind of its own. And it was an older, original mechanical thermostat, so we went ahead and got the approval to do all the work, and we came back in and put a new door gasket, new door closure, new door sweep, new temperature controller, new limit switches, and then we also installed that new digital display on the outside of the box with the door alarm on it and the high and low temperature alarms, okay? The customer was extremely satisfied. It's exactly what they wanted. They appreciated the fact that I moved that door alarm up higher for a couple reasons. Number one, because I had to mount it exposed on the outside of the box because of the moisture intrusion in the walls, I was afraid that, someone walking by that corner was going to take out that box, okay? So by moving it higher, it makes it a little bit easier. And it's also, I had to think about it. It's not too high, okay? Because they have some shorter ladies that work in that restaurant. They can still reach the light switch on that thing. But one of the cool things about that Dixel, door alarm kit is that because I went ahead and left the magnetic door switch on there, when you open that door and the magnet opens, it automatically turns the lights on. And then it has a timer feature in it that if the lights are on for so much time, then it turns them back off. And you also have the ability to turn the lights on and off by pushing the button too. Okay? So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you guys got something from this. Right now you should see some other channels that I really recommend you guys check out popping up. Give those guys a shot. And, I really appreciate your guys' feedback. So you guys got questions or comments, suggestions, send me an email, okay? hvacrvideos@gmail.com, or just throw a comment down in the bottom of this video, all right? Appreciate it, guys, and hopefully we'll see you guys on the next one, okay?